Welcome, everyone. This is Finally Beatles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Mary Adwin
Hi,
and Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello there. Let us begin this week with our news, but there really isn't any in-game news, at least, to say. They are just busy in the background working on the expansion for our little trip to Sanswinda's favorite area. But let's head into our LOTRO beacon, which we have. This is LOTRO beacon number 119, where it looks like somebody is playing with their pet badger. It's a little badger house that they got.
Yeah.
Now, I think there was a little problem earlier this week where the badger pet could actually cause your game client to crash, but I think they said that they fixed that since then, hopefully.
That's good.
But for the time being, I think I'm not going to go run out and buy a badger yet. But
I
yeah,
do like the little house. It's really cute.
the
It
little
is.
badger house that you can get, yes. Let's head into our community spotlight, where Long-Winded One interviewed Chris Pearson and lead world builder and Jerry's new community manager for episode 38 of his podcast. And update 24, Veils of Undoing full soundtrack is now available on YouTube. Yeah, I saw all those boop, boop, boop YouTube videos pop up. Gnomes will be hosting Hobnanigans tournament on Langeable server August the 3rd. And you click to find out more information on that. Hobnanigans tournament. I think it's been a while since I've heard anyone see August 3rd, or this will be try to show about 30 minutes beforehand. Time 2 p.m. server time on August the 3rd. And Bree Festival grounds, of course, at the Hobnanigans field. The total of 1950 gold for prizes, 900 for the winner, 600 for second, 300 for third, and 150 for fourth place team. And the prizes are total and will be evenly split between the three members of the winning teams. So I presume that means that it'll be in teams of three then. Pre-made teams of three are preferred. But if you do have anything, but if you do come in looking for partners or anything like this, and there are enough people asking for it, they might be able to arrange something for you. But if you want to be sure of being able to get into a team, I suggest you arrange it with someone else in advance. All right, from past experience, with 4 teams, it lasted about an hour. With 5 teams, it lasted a bit under 2 hours. Usually the largest time waster is being confined to a single field and having to constantly reset fields due to unknowing players or griefers grabbing Hobnanigans sticks and making the game unbalanced, like 2 to 3 or something like that. So please be courteous to everyone in the tournament when you are playing this. And also we have this week, see, July 13th, that is today, is the Weatherstock concert series, because next week is, of course, the main event, Weatherstock 11, which is held on top of Amansul. This is on Langevo. And if you plan to be there at the actual concert rather than watching a live stream or anything like that, just remember that Weatherstock can be the biggest lag fest in the game.
That's an understatement.
That's another, and also turn your graphics down, because I know from personal experience what can happen if you don't turn your graphics down enough. Yeah, my first weather stock was a bit of a disappointment until I found out why it was a disappointment. Oops.
On the other hand, if you've never been to Weatherstock Live before, you should totally go.
Yeah. It will help, though, if your character is high enough level so you don't have to worry about being attacked by Graban, but there will be security guards there to shoot all of them so that the lower level characters should be able to survive once they get there. Then Lena Willowwood shows off the new dramatic defeat emote on Silverback Badger and Silverback Badger Pet that are now available in the LOTRO store. And I heard a rumor that Sans Wyndham may once or twice have encountered the dramatic defeat emote.
I
So-
declare that Pineleaf has dramatically defeated me with that statement. Cue the slow fall.
And the Gleaming Thread presents two new outfits. So one of them might be the one that was the one that we talked about already, or see, the latest one is the Fabaral, which is a dwarven outfit. Very, very dwarven.
Yep.
Very, very dwarven. And there is, that was the Fabaral, the Bargain Hunt. We also have Bargain Hunter here. Comfortable looking, dark colored outfit, lightweight jacket. So it's a bit on the hobbity side there. It looks. Actually, I don't know how that would look on other characters. That's less obviously race specific in there, though I suppose if you're playing anyone else, you might want some shoes on there. Then let's head into there we go. Our kin haul for this week. Infamy is recruiting. Other than currency used for the Entmoors and an evil reputation, Infamy is a kinship on the Ithil server in LOTRO. Originally founded on the 1st of 2019 by a gang of former Creep and Free players from various servers, Infamy aims to hopefully find a home for PvP on the Ithil legendary server. Meanwhile, there's plenty to do and lots of fun to be had along the way. So get to us, sluggers! Burst on a running joke. Comedy and humor is in Infamy's kinship's backbone, and we strive to build a community of fun and helpful players within the dungeons of our kinship and throughout all of Ethel Legendary Server. We shall rule with an iron fist from the rating of role players, PvP, and crafting. Infamy's kinship members are top to bottom, do it all. We're willing to answer any questions and group for any activity, regardless of player skill level, equipment, or nationality. Goblins are the priority! You can contact Forest Fox in-game if interested or have any questions. So let's head into our weekly comment. You're fishing in the Bywater fishing lake when suddenly you feel a tug on your fishing rod. You fight to reel in your catch, and it turns out it was a
Weed.
all that for a weed.
Don't look at me. I don't do fishing.
Well, I suppose.
I mean,
you-
sometimes it's a goldfish, but then you just feel
I
bad for
do
having
as much
struggled
fishing
to.
as I do crafting. So
All right, let's see.
actually, I probably do more crafting because I do the occasional cooking and farming binge. But
How about a rusted matham?
you don't get rusted mathams. You get mathams, but you don't get rusted ones. You get rusty daggers.
Well, I'm talking about getting something worse than something you would normally get.
I mean, you fish up mathams during the Summerfest, but
Yeah.
that's really the only time you fish up Mathams. Otherwise, they drop like candy throughout various instances in Middle-earth, and I usually have more than I can use. I max out Matham rep all the time. I'm sure I have Mathams floating around somewhere.
Yep.
You could throw them into the lake for Pineleaf to fish up.
Only after they've rusted.
Only after they're rusted.
Make sure they're rusty first, just in case
Yeah.
they would unrust or something.
See,
Not rust fast enough underwater.
Yes. See, they'll be so rusted and ruined that not even the Matham House will accept them anymore. That's the type that I would fish up. Let's head into our fan site news. You could join Druid's Fire as she guest hosts 2 shows and helps set up for Shirefest. Adventure After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa. And you can listen to the newest LOTRO Players news for Ranger Danger. You could journey to Red Baron on Evernight. And The Road Goes Ever On with Gravity 42. And join French Girl Gaming on the LOTRO Adventures with a French twist. And speaking of fishing, Fibro Jedi posted this week's screenshot of the week where we have someone fishing in the foreground, and apparently there is a rainbow in the background.
Mm-hmm. That's a Shire rainbow.
What, do the rainbows look different in different areas?
Yes, actually they do. But that's the Shire.
Yeah, so I'll agree that's the Shire. Just didn't I didn't know that the rainbows look different in different regions. Okay.
Well, because of in Eregion they happen at night, and they really kind of don't happen anywhere else.
Okay.
You don't get rainbows in Bree.
You don't get rainbows in... Oh, all right. And you never get daylight rainbows like the rest of the world gets in Eregion?
No, you
Eregion
get
is
them at
weird.
night.
Okay.
You get night bows in Eregion.
It must be something above the L's that causes that. L's that just don't get anything in the right direction, I guess. And that concludes our beacon for this week. So let's head into our store sales. And is it anything interesting?
Well, the weekly coupon gets you a universal morale potion with coupon Restore Morale now through July 18th. And 25% off some of Sansa's favorite stuff, the Gift of the Valor, Blessing of the Valor, and I'm assuming Aria of the Valor, even though it's not mentioned, because usually it is on sale, even though it's not mentioned.
I think someone said that. I thought that I heard someone mention that Aria wasn't on sale.
Well, that stinks if it's not, because I was just thinking about Ariaing another character. But maybe I shouldn't.
Usually the Aria is on sale, even though it's not mentioned. I haven't checked because I don't have enough points to do it anyway. Okay. The Third Age item trove and Legacy scroll box are also 25% off, so you can waste your points on those if you really feel so inclined. Summer sales are good. We got 35% off the High Elf race, and then we've got junk because we have 50% off the housing crit and 75% off the crafting crit. Like, you need more crafting stuff. But if that's your thing, go ahead and spend your points because now it's on sale.
Let's then head into...
Wait, we lost the weekly coupon.
I said it first.
Oh, yeah, you said it first? Okay.
Yeah, said that first. Let's head into our new player question. And what's the question for this week?
The question for this week: if you've skipped content while leveling, is there a way to find out where you left off to pick it up again? Not that any of us here would be guilty of skipping content while leveling.
Well, you can look and see what stuff you've completed. Like, you can open up your quest log and see what the last thing was that you completed. But unless you still have things open, the only way to figure out what you're missing is compare your completed stuff to the wiki that tells you what you should, where you should be at.
Sometimes you might get some clues from your deed list, but it's an
Also,
unreliable place to do it.
If you turn on the show trivial quest strings in radar toggle, that will also occasionally pop up quests that need doing.
Yes.
Does that make the quest strings visible again then?
Well, the quest strings over the NPC's head are always visible unless you toggle them off, but yes, it turns them back on in your radar.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't make them not gray over the person's head.
Right, it doesn't make them all shiny and new.
Okay.
Yeah, so you still know then that it is a quest that's not very important, I guess, is a good way of putting it.
So my term is very trivial.
Extremely unimportant questing.
Yeah.
Extremely trivial questing.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Then let's head into our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Not lots, again. But we did make it to Veg Bar this week and discovered that there are no snacks. I'm still calling it the snack bar, just because I think it's funny. Also, we discovered that the bears all call it Veg Bar, which we're Sans and Cinders and I are still calling it Veg Bar, and we're still insisting it's the snack bar. But unfortunately, there are no snacks. And still doing chores for bears.
Well, yeah.
Because stupid bears. Yeah, that's all I got this week. Sans, how about you?
This week, I went caroling in Mordor with Key and Cinders on our brightly dressed shirtless dwarves. And
Christmas in July?
Basically, yeah. I mean, it was kind of just black and gray.
Shirtless Christmas in July.
Well, I mean, Mordor, hot weather, you know. But we needed some color and some way to be able to spot each other at a distance. Turns out we need suntans too. But we're quite easy to see from a distance. And yeah, the inhabitants of Durthing were not pleased to have us visit them. But we were pleased to dispatch them back to their res circle where they could try to increase their morale. It didn't really work that well. They kept coming back really cranky. But we had fun. And we met an elf friend who helped us, so that was pretty awesome. And then on the field trip, we rolled a group of Bjornings and had fun visiting Archit with another random Bjorning who showed up. And so there were 6 of us wandering around Archit, greeting each other, which was pretty funny. And I had a rather short run on the field trip, but that was fun. And didn't find any snacks laid out at the Veg Bar, like Terry said when I went there on Sans. And it was disappointing. Their supplies show some promise, though. So I'm thinking that if the Veg Bar isn't a friendly snack bar, we might have to turn it into one by raiding their provisions and setting up our own, snack stand. We can charge the Bjornings a toll to have their food back, since they failed to set up Veg Bar appropriately and keep asking us to pay a toll. So, yeah, Sans is making some plans here, because any place named Veg Bar should totally have a snack stand. So, Pine Leaf, how was your week?
Now, concerning the group in Mordor, when you said that you ran into an elf friend, did you mean an elf that's a friend, or do you mean that someone who is declared by the elves to be an elf friend?
You know, it was somebody running around on a female elf who was in Durthing, on a guardian, and they were high enough level to probably handle it by themselves, but accompanied us on our adventures and helped us find our last bauble. So,
okay.
Yeah, a nice friendly elf.
A friendly elf. All right. I just want to make sure that we had.
I think I was sworn to secrecy about that. I think I wasn't supposed to mention anything about elves, but the elf was pretty awesome. So
okay. Then I will head into what I did this weekend. On Honor, I completed Skirmisher of Middle-earth, and I also completed the Mirkwood Meta Deed.
Congratulations, Pineleaf.
Yay!
So how long did that take to get Skirmisher of Middle-earth on Honor?
Let's see.
You can count just since Skirmishes opened. Because before that, you don't have to count.
Right, because you can't.
Because you couldn't do it.
So how long ago did Skirmish Moria came out? When on Honor?
Well, it'll be when Mirkwood came out, because Mirkwood came out on June 12th is when Mirkwood was released.
Yeah, but you could work on the other skirmishes before then.
Yeah, I did work on all the other skirmishes before then. So if we go, well, in that case, the first skirmish was released on the same day they opened up the server originally.
Was it?
I thought we were without skirmishes until Moria opened. You could go to the skirmish camp, but you couldn't actually skirmish.
You are right. That okay? Yes, you're right. Of course, that would have been in March. Let's see. That would have been early March then.
4 months.
Yeah,
Pineleaf got Skirmisher of Middle-earth in 4 months.
4 months and maybe about a week tacked onto that. Yeah.
Now, Pineleaf, can you beat that on one of the other servers?
What do you mean beat that on one of the other servers?
I mean, like if we start now, can you get it in less than 4 months?
I will assume so because I would have to get leveled up to 65 because you got to remember I was 45, I believe, when Moria opened up, and I think
so you started all your skirmishing at level 45. Because that's when we can start skirmishing.
That's right. That's right. I did start skirmishing the day Moria came up, even though everything else related to. That's right, because I think I finished the skirmish deeds for the non-Moria stuff before I managed to get into Moria.
Nice.
Because it took me a month before I could get inside and all that stuff, since I was still trying to finish up the epic and the rest of the zones before that. So could I beat that on? The biggest thing will be is that I'll have to be starting at level 1. And
that would probably be a pretty big time sink too.
It'll be a pretty big time sink, so I have to do all the leveling plus doing that. Now I don't have to worry about some of the rules that I had on this character. And for example, I was not allowed to go into Moria until I had finished Volume 1. So therefore I couldn't do the Moria skirmishes until...
So you could skip Volume 1 and then find yourself looking for where to pick up the quest.
Right. Well, usually on epics it's not as bad as on some of the others. Some of the others, especially
the side quests are a lot harder to track down, I think.
Yeah, side quests are a lot harder to track down on that matter. But the epics, at least, they have their own category and all that stuff, so you could pretty much tell what's going on in there, I think. And each book has its own little tab on there. So, yeah, I think the epics aren't the one to worry about. The question I think that you have is more pertaining to the side quests. But yes, if I were in the mood to level up a new character and going to it, I guess it should be possible to do it in definitely could do it in 6. Whether I could do it in 4 or not would be, depending on how much time I've got.
Fair.
And when you consider here, at least I have the character here is one that I was also doing a YouTube video on, so therefore I at least was on the same character.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Then on Friday Night Fights, we ran a few skirmishes with an awkward number of players. We had 4, and you know how awkward skirmishing with 4 is.
Ooh, that can be fun.
Yes, we had a 116 after, I think, the second one, and 3 120s. So I think we tended to run it one level above the lower level person so that they could get some good experience while we were going around trying to make sure that we could make up for the 2, especially when we were doing thievery and mischief, and the boss fight can get a little bit tough if you're trying to do it with the 4, considering you have to worry about Rose, you got to worry about the boss, you got to worry about that stupid orc, so it's all really... If you're nice and coordinated, you could do it. But in this case, the fact that we were a couple of levels above did help a great deal with that. And in fact, I was thinking, because normally you try to kill Rose first, and I think we had a champion tanking and taking to a side the others while everyone else was working on Rose, and the champ killed the orc faster than we could kill Rose. But we kept her distracted enough that she didn't go around healing them. So I guess it didn't matter all that much. Then on my main, on Crick Hollow, I ran a few Veils dailies. So not much exciting on that section of it. So speaking of Crick Hollow, I assumed that Sans was going to be talking about Crick Hollow, but we went with Centers on our Crick Hollow group, where I am playing the
tanky Runekeeper.
I'm doing the Tank Keeper. Sans is on the Bjorning, and Cinders is on the Captain, on the High Elf Captain.
Yep, I'm running with 2 High Elves. I can keep up only in bear form. Or on a mount.
Or on a mount, yes. So we managed to do that, and on there we were in Eregion, and we reached level 45, so that means we're getting ready for class quests.
I was going to say allies, but yeah, we decided class quests first this time.
Yes.
For some reason.
Well, I always give priority to the class quest, and first I like to do the class quest. In this case, though, I like to save the trait point never hurts. Is that when I'm doing Bingo Boffin, I prefer to do the allies when we get sent over there through the Bingo series, which is only a couple of quick quests there.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yes. And for news beyond LOTRO, Amazon has announced that they are going to participate in the making of the new Lord of the Rings MMO.
I did a double take at this because we actually had an April Fool's article that was similar to this, and I was like, wait a minute. And I scrolled back and checked because it said because there was a April Fool's Day article that linked to Amazon with some LOTRO MMO stuff. But yeah, apparently it's actually a thing. Amazon is backing the free-to-play MMO that's in the works. So, yeah.
I forgot that there was an April Fool's.
I didn't. I mean, the April Fool's one was that Amazon was going to back Standing Stone, but and that they were working on something totally different. So yeah, but I mean, it was related enough that it popped in my head when I saw this article title. I was like, wait, what? Are we sure this isn't another April Fool? But no, it's not. It's an actual thing. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. Now, we don't know too much about it. We just know that it is at an earlier time period than LOTRO. But I don't think they announced exactly when yet. Is it something that's before
so
The
it's kind of
Hobbit
right
or
up.
after The
Oh,
Hobbit?
it's kind of right up there with the TV show.
Well, the TV show is Second Age, I thought.
Yeah, but it's right up there with the TV show in that we really don't know anything about it.
Oh, yeah, yes, it is. It is, yes, similar to it in that fashion. So perhaps we'll get a little bit more time and find out what this game is, when it is being set, what type of classes there are, and what kind of microtransactions there are inevitably going to be.
Yep.
Yep.
Because we all know that's going to happen.
Yep. I'm just wondering, is this going to be a case of if you thought LOTRO had microtransactions?
I know, right?
We'll learn the truth of that eventually. We currently have 18 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be guests with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LotroPlayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Arendis @Arendis, Pineleaf @PineleafNeedles, Sandwinda @Sandwinda, and Terry Edwin @TerryEdwin. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Thursdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News. You can join us for our shows at LotroPlayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.